When I first came to the hospital, through the emergency room, the chaplain met me at the door. And at that time, I thought I had lost him. I was just making lunch for our 9-year-old at the time, and the phone rang. Okay, and it was a dropped call. So I texted Scott back and I said, "Did you need anything?" And he texted, and it was kind of broken up, but it was like QU.6 help 911.
It came in as a man caught in a bush hog. That gets a pretty heavy response on something like that. We know agriculturally we're going to need every hand's available.
We see several patients that have been run over by a bush hog, and they're usually massive injuries. A bush hog is a tool that looks like a lawnmower only for trees, so it can take out 4 or 5 inch trees, and so the damage that it can do to a human being that's under that deck is extremely severe.
When we got there, we saw Cindy cradling him and him begging for help because he was sliced from the shoulder blade down to his knee. We'd called care flight prior to we knew he was going to have to go somewhere special and fast. I mean, if he was going to had any chance at all.
The helicopter had landed he was in the ambulance, and I kept thinking, why aren't they taking him to the helicopter? Not knowing that his heart stopped twice, and they were trying to get him stable before they could even take him on the helicopter.
Shane was intubating Mr. Boyd, so she inserted a tube to help breathe for him because he was not effectively breathing. He was very pale, he was diaphoretic, he was sweating a lot. His blood pressure was very low, his heart rate was very high, he was in shock. So I was working on controlling the bleeding on the outside. Shane was working on taking care of his airway and keeping him, getting enough oxygen to his brain. But while that was going on, I believe after we had gotten him intubated.
Yeah, right after we were getting ready to move.
We lost his pulse.
Yeah.
So we had to do CPR in the back of the ambulance to keep circulating blood and keep oxygen going to his brain. So we did CPR and gave him some pretty serious drugs to keep his heart going and got his pulse back and took that second to move forward and get in the aircraft and get him to Miami Valley.
Actually, the area we were in, we normally had med flight take him, and we chose care flight that day because we knew the speed and of the helicopter and where he was going would be where he needed to be.
As we were coming down for landing with Scott, we actually lost his pulse again, so we were coding him as we were landing. We actually coded him doing CPR all the way to the OR, and when we handed off care, he was actually in full arrest.
Not many trauma centers have the procedure of direct operating room, and that procedure was critical in saving Scott's life.
Had he not been able to go straight to the OR, had he not been able to be a hot offload, we would have lost another 10 minutes easy, if not 20 at another facility if we'd shut down.
We have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have an operating room that is open and ready to receive critical patients, just like Scott. We have anesthesia, we have the radiology techs, we have the critical care staff, and the whole trauma team that can respond directly to the operating room. Transitions in care are managed with ICU staff, so it's really a whole system that's been established precisely for this kind of severely injured patient. We couldn't do this without our team. It's a team effort to save these people.
And they were so involved with him. It was like he was the only patient in this entire hospital.
It's a human being, and we take care of the people that are brought to us to return them to their life. That's our goal, is to return them to the family and return them to the life that they had before we took care of them.
I would have thought, Columbus would have been the town to, to go to. I didn't know Dayton had this available. I didn't know. And I think I don't think I'd have survived if I would have gone anywhere else but here.
Now he's out being Scott. He's working out. He's being physically active, and he's gaining back himself. And they said it'll be a year here coming up, and he's out doing things.
It's an easy case to talk about because it went truly so well, and he was so horribly injured, and it was seamless.
The human body is a miracle. People are miracles. Because it's not just a physical recovery, it's an emotional and mental, and they have to have a lot of, it's hard work to recover from an injury like this. And yet Scott had the persistence to go through rehab, go through multiple operations, be supported by his family. All of that, to me, is a miracle.
The whole trauma team, the doctors, the nurses, everyone, anyone involved in care, thank you. You saved my life. There's no doubt about that. They saved my life here. I appreciate it so much. I'm gonna try not to waste it.
They saved our family. I think it just would not be the same had we have not come here.